Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leisrealtalk. All right. I hope everyone's weekend has been good so far. Yes, good. Okay, we have an exciting program ahead of us. We're going to talk about if Xi Jinping has lost power, or if Xi Jinping has lost power in the military. Well, the statement Xi Jinping might have lost control of the PLA is not a clickbait. Since July and August, there have been signs of a power shift within the leadership of the PLA. Vice Chairman of the Central Military Commission, Zhang Youxia, seems to have gained more control, um, or seemed to have gained control over the Central, Northern, and Southern Theater commands. Meanwhile, a series of personnel changes and rumors suggest that some key members of the Xi Jinping's faction within the military have lost power or are uneasy in their positions. So last year, Xi Jinping's biggest political scandal was removal of some of the officials he trusted or officers he trusted and personally promoted, such as former Foreign Minister Qin Gang and Defense Minister Li Shangfu, Wei Fenghe, the commander of the Rocket Force. When he replaced the entire leadership of the Rocket Force, we thought Xi Jinping was addressing a loyalty crisis and relentlessly cleansing the people who betrayed him. However, when the ongoing political purging in the PLA extended to more military branches and the entire defense industry, including many of the most trusted allies Xi Jinping has in the military, we shouldn't assume that this is a normal political purge. Why would Xi Jinping engage in a self-deprecating actions, or I shouldn't say self-deprecating actions, more than one? Are there any other reasons why he is taking down so many of his loyalties? I think there's one possibility. That is, the downfall of Xi's loyalists are not Xi's own choice of action. It's the result of someone else cleaning out his influence in the military. And that person might be Vice Chairman of CMC, Zhang Youxia. So today, let's talk about what has happened in the PLA. We'll first discuss a series of personnel changes before discussing Zhang Youxia's latest actions. All right? Okay. Well, the first person whose job reassignment sent out a sign of anomalies was Xi Jinping's chief of staff in the Central Military Commission. His name is Zhong Shaojun. So let me share the slides. So you will see a whole bunch of faces. There will be many names and faces that will show you. So this guy is the former director of the General Office of the CMC and the director of the Chairman's Office of the CMC. In April, he was reassigned to the position of he became the political commissar of the National Defense University. Now, his transfer from being Xi Jinping's chief of staff in the military commission to a sub-theater unit means that he's being demoted or he's on his way out. But Zhong is only 56 years old, and he's far from CCP's retirement age. He was Xi Jinping's, you have to understand who he is. He was Xi Jinping's close aide when she was the provincial leader in Zhejiang and Shanghai. And after she became the fifth CCP leader in 2012, Zhong was parachuted into Zhongnanhai and quickly promoted from a civilian to a military officer and became the deputy director of the CMC's general office and the director of the chairman's office. So, and then in August 2017, when the former director of the general office I'll talk about him later, was promoted to be the Navy, to go to the Navy, he was promoted to the director. So he has been, think about it, he has been the the director of the chairman's office for more than 12 years. And he has been first as the deputy director and then as the director of the general office of the CMC for also 12 years. And then the role he plays is similar to the role Cai Qi plays in the party. So Cai Qi is Xi Jinping's chief of staff within the party's central committee, the general office of the central committee, right? So Cai Qi runs the house of the CCP for Xi within the party, and Zhong, this guy runs the PLA's, the daily operations of the PLA for Xi Jinping, and he's been doing that for more than 10 years. Now, this man is very interesting. He has a degree in computer science and a master's degree in psychology. So he's said to be very smart and understands what his boss's needs are, and is said to be extremely low-key. And he's certainly, without a doubt, one of the most trusted persons Xi Jinping has in the PLA. Now, the question comes with the amount of investigations and personnel changes happening right now, right? Especially since last year, since the Qinggang Li Shangfu drama unfolded. So the question is, how could Xi Jinping let him go? Like his departure from the CMC shocked people, given the amount of personnel changes that we've seen. So people speculated the reason. Did Xi Jinping no longer trust him because he did or said something that's offensive? Or his unwavering loyalty to Xi Jinping made him the scapegoat in power struggles? And the third possibility is that the PLA officers had enough of this guy, or they had enough of Xi Jinping's political purging that they got organized and got rid of the person in charge of staffing for Xi. So regardless of the reason, Zhong's departure is a clear sign of Xi's power in the military being weakened, because regardless of any of the three scenarios I gave you, it's a sign that his power, even if it's the first scenario in which this guy has done something seriously offensive to Xi Jinping, I mean, that's a sign of weakness. Here you have somebody who you trusted the most, obviously is a two-faced person, right? So either any one of those three scenarios is a clear sign of Xi's weakening power in the PLA. Although many people believe that it may not be the case in the first scenario. Now, let's talk about his replacement. His replacement is Lieutenant General Zhang Youxia. I have a picture of him. Where do I turn? Let me make this bigger. Disappeared. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is Zhong's replacement. Now, Fang is from Fujian, and so he served as the political commissar in the 31st Group Army, which is considered Xi Jinping's loyal base, because he was the 31st Group Army was based in Fujian. And Xi Jinping was a provincial leader for Fujian for the longest time in his career. So the 31st Group Army is called the bedrock of Xi Jinping's military leadership. And so this General Fang is also considered a member of the Fujian Gang, but he never held any important position directly serving Xi Jinping since he became the leader. And in 2018, General Fan became the vice minister of the Ministry of Veterans Affairs and the assistant director of the Political Work Department of the Central Military Commission. And since 2021, he has served as the deputy political commissar of the Southern Theater Command. So comparing Wang to his predecessor, Zhong, there's a clear distinction. He has military background, whereas his predecessor did not. his predecessor was a civilian and was thrown into that position. So General Fang has military background, but he's a candidate who can be accepted by all sides. So people feel, unlike his predecessor, who's defined as Xi Jinping's secretary or aide, this replacement is someone who at least has experience within the PLA prior to joining the general office and prior to taking on this responsibility. So people feel that even though he is affiliated with Xi Jinping, because of his experience in the 31st Group Army in Fujian, he is still considered acceptable by different factions within the PLA. Okay, now let's talk about the second person whose recent development was shocking. So when Zhong Shaojun was the deputy director of general office of the CMC from 2013 to 2017. Right, this man. Let me show you, because there are a lot of Chinese names. So when he was the deputy director, this man was his boss and predecessor. He was the director of the general office of the CMC. Two independent sources have revealed in the past few days that Qin, his name is Qin Shengxiang, Qin is now under investigation. Qin's career started from Beijing. He came from the 38th Group Army based in Beijing, served as the political commissary of the 112th Division of the 38th Group Army. Now, the 38th Group Army is an elite troop because I think it has the responsibility of protecting. It's the garrison of Beijing back then. So that's how he started his military career. Now he became the director of the general office of the CMC immediately after Xi Jinping became the fifth CCP leader. And so at the time, Xi Jinping was surrounded by Jiang Zemin's loyalists in the military. And to take down Jiang Zemin's people, Xi Jinping rolled out his military reforms in 2016. And Qin was put in charge of the military reforms as the director of the Office of Reform and Organization. So he was the only officer serving as the head of two departments within the 15 organizations of the CMC. That made him very special. The fact that Xi Jinping entrusted him with the responsibility of overseeing the military reforms shows his close relationship with Xi Jinping. And in August 2017, he became the Navy's political commissar. And I think he retired in 2022. Now it's hard to believe that Xi Jinping would take down the man who was responsible for his signature program in the PLA, right? Part of his legacy, and also who has already retired. He's not holding any position. Why would Xi Jinping take someone like him down? She would have more to lose than to gain. So again, the question is, did Xi Jinping remove or start investigating Qin out of his own will, or Qin was removed or being investigated because Xi Jinping is under tremendous pressure and needs to find a scapegoat? Or there's something else, somebody clearly targeting him. Let's move on. Let's talk about the next personnel change. And on September 29th, China's media reported that Chen Guoqiang, the deputy secretary of CMC's Discipline Inspection Commission, was transferred to the National University of Defense Technology. It's a different school than the other school. This one is the technology school, it's called the National University of Defense Technology. The other one didn't have the word technology. They're two different military schools. So yeah, he transferred. He became the political commissar of that school, in charge of new recruitments, in charge of student admission. And now his previous job as the deputy director in the discipline inspection commission in the CMC is extremely powerful. He's under the CMC Discipline Inspection Commission's director, Zhang Shenming, but Zhang is the figurehead as the director. Most of the work is handled by the deputy director. So he played a crucial role in the investigation um, of in the high-profile cases oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Li Shangfu, Wei Fenghe, and Li Yuchao. Right, Li Yuchao is the former commander of the rocket force. So he was heavily involved. He oversaw, or he was put to be in charge of the investigation work on those three individuals, and possibly more. I mean, these are the three names that we know, but we know there are many other people being investigated in the rocket force. So in the current waves of political purging that has been going on in the PLA, the question is, why would Xi Jinping abruptly demote such a key figure in the Discipline Inspection Commission to handle military university admissions? It defies logic, right? With the scale of the purging, she should at least have some continuity in the Discipline Inspection Commission, because I mean, you can't. It would be difficult for him if you think about it. If you're investigating so many PLA officers, you need to have at least some consistency or some continuity or seniority within the group of investigators. So it's unthinkable that he would cut out or cut one of his, the analogy is like cutting his arms and legs when he's on the battlefield. So Chen's demotion indicates that Xi's anti-corruption campaign within the military has encountered significant resistance. Now, I don't think the reassignment, the investigation, and demotion of the above-mentioned high-ranking officers who are Xi Jinping's loyalists were Xi's own choices. There are signals that Xi's authorities are being challenged within the PLA. And under pressure, Xi is forced to sacrifice some of his people and make concessions. And there's only one person who could possibly challenge him, and that's his buddy and the first vice chairman of CMC, Zhang Youxia. So now let's talk about Zhang Youxia. Let me see. Do I have a picture of him? Oh, there we go. All right. Well, Zhang is the highest ranking princeling, currently taking positions within the CCP organization. And he has tremendous influence in the military because he grew up in a military family. He and his father are one of the two pairs of father-son generals in the history of the PLA. In July, the PLA had a major reshuffle of military commanders. So I'm going to read you some names. I know they may sound foreign to you, but I'll try as much as I can to attach the name with their titles or positions. So Huang Ming, the commander of the Central Theater Command, moved to the Northern Theater Command, leaving the position of the Central Theater Command, the commander of the Central Theater Command, vacant. Wu Yanan, the deputy chief of staff of the Joint Staff Department, was appointed as the commander of the Southern Theater Command. The whereabouts of the former commanders of the Southern and Northern Theater Commands, Wang Xiubing and Wang Qiang, are unknown. And also, actually, I have a slide of them. So yeah, Wang Xiubing in the middle, and Wang Qiang. Wang Xiubing is from the Central, was the former commander of the Central Theater Command, and Wang Qiang is the Northern was the commander of the Northern Theater Command. And the man on the left, his name is uh, Qin Shengxiang. And in September, various sources have stated that he has been detained for investigation. Now, he is the active duty political commissar of the army. Okay, so all three belong to the Xi Jinping faction in the PLA. That's what people believe. Of the three, Wang Xiaobing's career, the man in the middle, overlapped with Qin Shengxiang, the man on the left. Both started from Xi Jinping's loyal, trusted 31 group army based in Fujian. And in Fujian, while Wang was the deputy army commander, Qin Shengxiang was the director of the political department. Later, Wang and Qin were almost simultaneously transferred to the first group army, where they respectively served as army commander and political commissar. So these two career track overlap, in the early stage. Now, Qin's investigation and Wang's removal from his post cannot be a mere coincidence. It cannot be a mere coincidence that the two have lost their influence at the same time. Now, regarding the third commander on the list, the man on the right, the former commander of the Northern Theater, Wang Qiang, there is a drama when he was first appointed. And if you remember, there was rumor about a military coup involving the Northern Theater Command back in September of 2022, right before the 20th Party Congress. I think I even talked about it. Now, General Wang Qiang was from the Air Force, but back in September 2022, right before the Party Congress, Wang was sent to the Northern Theater Command to replace the then commander, General Li Qiaoming, who was very upset with this personnel change. It was said that Xi Jinping replaced him because, one, General Li was an ally of Li Keqiang, and two, he opposed Xi's seeking a third term. Now, Li, I have a picture of him. So Li Qiaoming is the man on the left. And Wang Qiang is on the right. So these two had a cat fight. for lack, I don't know, what do you call when men I just say, okay, cat fight. It was a cat fight. I'll tell you why. So now General Li Qiaoming is an army general who had war experience in Vietnam. He was said to be a military leader, very well respected within the PLA, because he loves his troops. He loves his soldiers. And at 56, he was the youngest commander of the theater command. And he was also the longest serving theater commander after Xi Jinping's military reforms. So when his replacement, the termination of his position was announced, and when his replacement, General Wang Qiang, arrived at the Northern Theater Command and demanded General Li to turn over his authorities, it was difficult for General Li and his troops, particularly his subordinates, who were very loyal to him, right? Who were very loyal to General Li. Back in 2022, there were rumors that General Li Qiaoming was involved in the military coup. But what really happened was that it was not a coup, but what happened was General Li refused to turn over power, and his people fought with General Wang's people. The two sides opened fire. So that's what happened. One came over, say, hey, I'm in charge. You need to turn over, your authority. The other said, I don't think so. So they opened fire. Their people opened fire. So people suspected that General Li Qiangming would be in trouble because, I mean, that's quite a drama. But then he was later moved to be the commander of the army. Now, at the army, Commander Li's days were miserable because he didn't get along, or he doesn't get along with his political commissar. Who was that? Well, he was this man, the man on the far left. I mentioned he is the active duty political commissar of the army, Qin Shengxiang. So General Li was or has been miserable for the past couple of years. Now, if you look at this chart, all three men, right? All three men with two of them's future career unknown, and General Qing now being investigated. Who do you think is the person who's most delighted by this piece of news? Without a question, that's the army commander, General Li Qiangming, right? Who was forcefully kicked out of his Northern Theater Command 2 years ago. So the recent personnel changes are nothing but good news to him. So the question comes, who is behind General Li? Why was he okay and not severely reprimanded after defying order and refused to transition with General Wang? You'd think that he would be dealt with swiftly, right? But no, he got a lateral move and landed in the army. So he is backed by Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia. And General Li and Zhang Youxia, here I hope I have a slide to show them. So they're buddies. They have a bond since the two fought in the Vietnam War. Zhang Youxia was once the commander of the Shenyang military region in northern China. Before the region, before he became the head of the PLA's General Armaments Department. Now, during the military reforms, the Shenyang military region rolled into the Northern Theater Command. So when General Li Qiangming became the commander of the Northern Theater Command, he inherited Zhang Youxia's former troops or former colleagues and subordinates. So when people say his troops was loyal to him, they were actually loyal to both him and Zhang Youxia. And that's the special bond between the two. So not only they fought in Vietnam, they both fought in Vietnam, but also they share the same, they managed the same group of, the same theater command, I should say, or the same military regions. So it shows how much influence Zhang Youxia has in the PLA, because nothing has really happened to Li Qiangming. So with the above personnel changes, we notice that Zhang Youxia has been clearing out Xi Jinping's loyalists in the military. Currently, of the 5 military theaters, 3 are controlled by Zhang Youxia, and they are the Northern, Southern, and Central Theater Commands. General Zheng Xuan, the political commissar of the Northern Theater Command, served in Zhang Youxia's 13th Group Army and has deep connections with Zhang. The newly appointed commander of the Northern Theater Command, Huang Ming, is also an old subordinate of Zhang Youxia. Additionally, Wu Yanan, the newly appointed commander of the Southern Theater Command, came from the 16th Group Army, which had been stationed in Liaoning for a long time, and shares a deep tie with Zhang Youxia, who was in the Shenyang, who was the head of the Shenyang military region. Most notably, the General Xu Deqing, the political commissar of the Central Theater Command, also came from the 14th Army, where Zhang Youxia served, and the two have a long-standing relationship. Now, the Central Theater Command includes Beijing military region, so it's very important. The commandership of the Theater Command is currently vacant. It'll be interesting to see who will fill that position. But for now, Zhang Youxia's former colleague and ally, the political commissar, Xu Deqing, is in charge of the theater. That leaves General Ling Xiangyang, the commander of the Eastern Theater, command, the only one left from Xi Jinping's faction. By the way, General Lin also came from the 31st Group Army in Fujian. Now, the commander of the Western Theater Command, the last one, Wang Haijiang has spent many years in the Western region and was in Tibet for almost 10 years. He's busy with what he does in his region, and he shows no clear sign of factional alignment. So people say, his region is not that important in the current political climate. And also, the man is very focused on what he does, and he has no political affiliation or he has no sign. There's no clear indication of which faction he's affiliated with. He's probably affiliated with neither. So since Beijing is in the north, with the large, heavily armored units of the Northern and Central Theater Commands gradually forming a defensive posture around the Beijing area, people say Zhang Youxia has effectively seized military dominance within the PLA. Let me come back. There have been many rumors about Xi Jinping losing power. In fact, that has been one of the most popular topics in the past couple of days. Every political commentators, no matter how much they disagreed on whether Xi Jinping was sick or was losing power, back during the summer, remember in August, there were rumors about Xi Jinping being ill. No matter how they disagreed back then, they all agreed that there were clear signs that Xi Jinping is losing power. And the most dramatic is from the PLA. The most dramatic signals came from the PLA. And there are also people saying that Zhang Youxia has staged a soft coup on Xi. It's possible. But by soft coup, it means that he wants to straighten out Xi Jinping, but he's not interested in taking over. He's not interested in threatening Xi Jinping's power, but he doesn't like what Xi Jinping is doing. So to explain all of that, to explain how much power or how much of that has affected Xi Jinping's political power requires a different program. So so tonight I only want to focus on Xi Jinping's challenges in the PLA. You can consider this part one of the discussion, and I'll discuss his waning political influence next week to complete the story. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. So that's all I'll say for tonight. All right, let me see if people have questions for me. I know it's a lot of names and a lot of faces, but I showed you the most important faces and the names. Let me see if people have questions for me. All right, I see Brian Cow. Thank you, Brian. All right. Yeah, this work must be done. If I jump to the next discussion, which is there have been many other indications that Xi Jinping's power, he's losing power in the party. But if I feel like if I jump into that, then I'm not really giving you a good foundation. But because the most important power of CCP leaders came from the military, so all the other, without discussing tonight's part, all the other discussions become irrelevant because, yeah, the most important thing is their grip on the military, on the PLA. So this is the foundation, but I'll come back with part two. Stay tuned. All right. Okay. Well, I ran through the colorful stickers, and I'll see if people have questions for me. I'll pick some random questions. Clan Lagan, looking good. Okay, good. Thank you. Netflix foreign. Do you think this move would delay or stop the planned Taiwan invasion? It's possible. I think this is significant. If Xi Jinping has actually lost power or lost the control of the PLA to Zhang Youxia, I think this is significant to the possibility of having a war in the Taiwan Strait. So I don't think Zhang Youxia, I mean, he knows the risk of starting a war, right? He and his people know they don't want to risk their lives to do that. So I think this is significant. Yeah, that's why, like I said, despite their differences and debates, but everyone is saying something is going on in the PLA. His power has, there's a power shift in the PLA. We don't know, of course, people's understanding varies. Some people say it's a significant change. Xi Jinping has lost power. Others say, well, it's just the starting of a shift. But everyone agrees that there is a power shift. So I think we need to keep a close eye on that, on the latest, on the development. Philosophify. All right. Well, if you could speculate, do you think people at the top of the CCP feel proud of their leadership? Can you speculate if they feel guilty? I don't think they feel proud. But the thing is, they don't feel proud inside, but they don't show that. It's hard, anyone who has lived in a communist country knows how people don't, hide their feelings and keep their real thinking, real ideas to themselves. So, so the only time they could show any pride is when they glorify their party. Other times, I don't think anyone has any sense of any sense of pride at this moment. Can you speculate if they feel guilty? Guilty of what though? Guilty of putting Xi Jinping in power? But that's not they didn't put Xi Jinping in power. I need to understand, what do you think they feel guilty of? Guilty of destroying their country's economy? They probably don't. They think Xi Jinping did it. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by guilt. Yeah. Okay. Digital Formosan. Thank you. All right. Let's see. That's all. Oh, Spartacus Nobu. There's a restaurant in New York called Nobu. Spartacus Nobu. Oh, where did that go? All right. Lei, please make sure you collect your fee from the CIA propaganda budget. You are doing a great job about pumping out Chinese propaganda talk. Even if it's not real news, I'm a fan of your show. I'm collecting no fees from nobody other than YouTube and you guys. To be honest with you, I even turn down sponsors because I feel like every time you collect money from someone, then you become their mouthpiece, right? Even when I have sponsors who are willing to pay me dearly, I feel like, number one, I don't want to burden you guys with, the 1 minute or 2 minute, commercial talk from Lei. And I have to be very careful in picking the right product that you are genuinely interested. So I even turn down, commercial proposals because I don't have time to evaluate them. I don't want to know. I don't have time to study what they're trying to sell. It's just too much for me right now. I would rather ask you to donate to me by trying to work really hard for you guys. I think my most important clients are, or if I treat you as clients, I think that it's you, it's my audience, my viewers. If I could provide relevant content and meaningful information to you, then I have done my job. So any other budget that I want to collect, probably not. Probably not. Yeah. I'm very careful who I get money from. So far, nobody, just YouTube and your donation. Your colorful stickers means a lot to me. Okay. And also some of you, if you don't, yeah, because if you make a contribution here, then YouTube take a cut. It's quite a substantial cut. You can also donate to me via the links, the donation link. I have a donor box account set up, so I would appreciate that. Okay, Angel Economics, Lei, how long do you think it will be before China undergoes deindustrialization, or has it already begun? I think it has already begun. I think China has already begun because its infrastructure, its failed infrastructure has expedited the process. I mean, normally you would think it wouldn't start so early. You would think it would start after the West seriously decoupled from China. But looking at the lack of quality and the lack of maintenance on China's major infrastructure, I think the deindustrialization process has started earlier. I mean, yesterday I saw the roads collapse. You see building collapses, roads, sank. Um, I mean, that's the beginning of deindustrialization when it happens on a large scale. Brendan G. Well, thank you, Brendan. Vilhim, I don't know how to say this. Sours. How combat ready is the PLA? And if the United States civil war breaks out, how would China react? China, if CCP is still in power, it would do everything it can to take advantage of a US civil war. So the United States, Americans should do everything they can try to avoid a civil war. They should avoid that because the CCP will certainly take advantage of that. Okay, let's see. All right. Jonathan Northfeet. Like, what do you think about YouTube channels like Spenza and David Zhang, which just spread lies and hate about China? I'm not so sure if they hate China. I haven't. I heard about them. I'm aware that they also do programs on China. I'm not so sure if they spread lies. I mean, everyone makes mistakes. I sometimes could make mistakes. And I don't know if I agree with you that they hate China. Maybe they have expressed a lot of negative feelings about China. I mean, not China. I mean, I think what they do is similar to what I do, but from a different with a different approach, from a different angle. So that's all I can say. Digital Formensa, for Morrison, we all admire and respect your work effort. Well, thank you. Jim Swolben, do you think that the officers prepared for war are replacing incompetent political leaders? Do you think the officers prepared for war are replacing incompetent political leaders? You mean that? Do you think that's the reason? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't. I think because these type of decisions come from the top. Unlike in the West, every level of management has some sort of authority to hire and fire their staff. But in the CCP, I mean, at that level, a lot of the decisions are centrally made. So the decisions would have to come from the top. It will have to come from Xi Jinping. Unless you're asking, is Xi Jinping getting rid of these people because he thinks these people are not war ready? But these are his loyalists. How could these people not be ready for war if he wants to be ready? So it has to be something else. Unless these people, he found out these people were not loyal to him, these people were spreading hearsay from his perspective to discourage the troops from getting prepared. But it's unlikely. It's more likely that Xi Jinping's power has been significantly reduced. Either these people became the scapegoat, or people like Zhang Youxia has forced them out because there's just so much resentment towards these few individuals about what they have done in the PLA. If Zhang Youxia has to get rid of them, think about what they do. They are the chief of staff of, they run the PLA office for Xi Jinping. They run the chairman's office. If that's what they do, they must have alien, and they handle the personnel, the HR, right? The chief of staff runs the personnel department. So they must have alienated a lot of PLA officers over the years. So there has been resentment building. So they have to go. Either Xi Jinping let them go or Zhang Youxia let them go. It has to be at that level. Yeah. So it's more of yeah. Okay. Thomas Waldron, although there is a lot of chaos in the PLA, how is the plan? How's the plan? Are their officers as political? Are their officers as political or as powerful as in the rocket and regular army forces? You asked a very big question, which I don't have a direct answer. It's hard, and you're asking how prepared is the PLA in terms of going to war. That's a big question, but I'm researching that. I'm having people doing research for me because there's very little information we could gather. All we can gather is the public information from the PLA, but even from the public information, it's very revealing. So I'm working on that. I'm working on that. It's a lot of work to go through the information. Stay tuned and subscribe. People say I always forget to ask people to subscribe. Yes. All right. Let's see. Jonathan Northwest, when was the last time you were in China? As you seem to be believing nonsense lies about China. As you seem to be believing nonsense lies about China. When was the last time you were in China? Does it matter? Does it matter when I was in China last? The world is so close through the internet. You could buy things from China without going there. You could do business with the Chinese virtually without going there. So what's preventing me from knowing China without going there? The world, this is the 21st century. You need to wake up and you don't need to go to China. When you go to China, you may not see the truth because you'll be careful with where you go and what you say. And what when you're in China, what is only the limited number of people that you interact with, probably most of your family and friends, who are careful not to tell you anything. So I don't think going to China helps us at all in getting to know China. And particularly if you're somebody important, CCP would do everything it can to give you a lasting impression of how great the regime is. So what difference does that make? Right? All right. Boycott China. Whoa, deinfrastructuralization. That's a new word we invented tonight. Thank you. William Mazawa Lei, do you think Joseph Tsai is a Chinese communist agent in America? He said many good things about Xi Jinping. Joseph Tsai. Who is Joseph Tsai? I was thinking about the Taiwan former Taiwan foreign minister. What's his name? Joseph Wu. And then oh no, that's not. So I'm not quite sure who Joseph Tsai is. If you could clarify. All right. How mental health? Someone asked me about mental health. Do I see Serpenza's latest video about how 老外88, right? 老外86. about how mental health is treated in China. He mentioned how his wife was supposed to deal with it. It was terrifying. Yeah, mental health is a major epidemic in China, but the Chinese are not acknowledging it. So it's very sad. Yeah, it is very sad, and Chinese are denying it. I didn't know. I didn't see his video, but I do acknowledge the problem. Sid Vicious, Lei, you need a good mood. You really do. You need good mods. You really do. Whereas, I don't know what you're saying. Mods? What is that? There's so many acronyms and abbreviated words. I don't know what they mean. All right, sorry. I mean, I don't mean to brush you off, but my eyes are trying to catch the questions. What's mods? MOD? Is that short for something? Modification? I don't know. You need to get mods on this channel if you want to troll. At least donate to Lei. What's mods? Someone help me. David Lopan. Tell people to like, subscribe, and invite their friends. Yes, please like, subscribe, and invite your friends. I was surprised. I mean, I made a video that talked about how many people China has. I mean, I came across the fact that China only has, what, 800 million people at the most. And I thought that video should go to like hundreds of thousands of views, but it didn't. So I'm surprised. Maybe I'll do something about it. Yes, please like, share, and invite friends. All right, I'll take, Digital for More Some. North Korea and Iran bittered their wording on China. Only Russia keeps silence. She lost their love? Yes. She lost the love for North Korea and Iran because she turned bitter on Iran. The spokeswoman basically immediately switched position and started to sound like the CCP is on the side of Israel. So of course Iran is gonna is not very happy. So CCP is they're opportunists. Yeah. All right. Okay. That should be all. Wuhan Institute of Virology. Lei doesn't know China has 1.5 billion. Come on, get your facts straight. No, anyone who believes China has 1.5 billion people, you need to watch my program from Thursday. It's a must. You need to watch that. China does not have 1.5 billion people. Period. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Lei and mods. What is mod? What is a mod? I have to look up. I have to ask people. Okay. All right. That's all for tonight. Mod. Oh, they may say in face filter that Chinese use to improve their face. Oh, the software that make you look better. Those are horrible. Did you see those? They look terrible. I mean, it's so deceiving. Everyone looks so fake. And then when they turn off the software, you see the true person. It's so disappointing. Moderators. Mod is moderators. Okay. All right. I need moderators? Okay. Well, I'll think about it. Okay, that's all for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Oh, here's M from a gift to Lei and a middle finger to the troll from Brisbane, Australia. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Well, enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.